Alright, Chapter 4, Credit Billing. 161, Correction on Billing Errors. If the creditor within 60 days after the day of the transmit with the obligator to stay with the obligator's account, in connection with the extension of the consumer credit of the receipt of the address of the script under Section 127 of the B11, the written notice of the notice of the payment stub with the other payment, the medium supply with the creditor as it stipulates. Who disclosure required in subsection 127A(d) with the obligator with which the obligator is set forth the otherwise enables for the credit identified with the name and account indicate the obligatee believe the statement contained with the billing error with the amount of the billing error and set forth the region with the obligee with refers to extent applicable to the statement contained with the billing error with the creditor shows and left the obligee with the after for the given of the written notice the before expiration of the time limits for the error and specify with the agree with the statement that was correct. No within 30 days after the receipt of the notice of the written acknowledgement thereof of the obligee with the unless the action requires subparagraph B with is within such 30-day period and no later than 2 complete billing cycle with the creditor with no event later than 90 days after the receipt of the notice. Any prior taking any action with the collect with the amount with any part thereof that indicate with the obligator in paragraph 2 with the make with the appropriate correction with the account with the obligator include with the creditor. If any financing charge amount with the error and is billed with the transmit with the obligator with the notification such corrections with the creditor explanation ancient with the amount that is indicated with the obligator with the paragraph 2 with any such change with the made with the obligator so with the request complied with the document evidence for the obligator indebtedness or 2. Send a written explanation, clarification, obligee from having the conducting an investigation set for the extent of the applicable for the region of the creditor for the belief of the account with the obligee with as correctly shown with the statement and upon with the request for the obligee with the provide with a copy of the documentary evidence of the obligee with the indebtedness and key of the billing error with the word of the obligee alleged with the creditor's billing statement that reflect with the goods not delivered to the obligee with the designer is in accordance with this agreement made at the time of the transaction. Creditor may not contribute such amounts to correctly show in the life of the determined such that the goods were actually delivered, mailed, with the otherwise sent with the obligee with the provide with the obligated with the statement list of the determination. After complying with the provision subsection respect with the alleged billing error, the creditor may have no further responsibility over the section obligated to continue with the make substantial for the same allegation with the respect to such error for the purpose of section billing error with consistent any with the following a reflection of the statement the extension of the credit which was not made with the obligee with the made with the not an amount with the reflection on such a statement of reflection of the statement the extension of the credit with which the obligee requests additional clarification, including documentary evidence thereof of the reader reflection of the statement of the goods service not accepted with the obligee with the hit of the designer with the not delivered for the obligee with the hit of the designer according to the agreement made with the time of the transaction. 4. Creditors failure to reflect properly with the statement of the payment made with the obligee with the credit card credit is issued for the obligee with the computation error with the similar error with the accounting nature of the credit with the statement. Any other error described in the regulation of the board. C. With the purpose of the section action with the collect with the amount any of the part there indicated with the obligee with the paragraph to do does not include with the sending of the statement of the account with the obligee following written notice from the obligee specified of section A with the if the obligee account with not restricted close with the because of the failure of the obligee to pay the amount within indicated on paragraph 2 in the subsection A and creditor indicates the payment of the amount with not required pending with the creditor is complying with this section not within section should contribute the prohibited with the action with the creditor collect with any of the amount with not been indicated with the obligee with the containment of the billing error. Proceeding with the regulation board with the creditor opening with the end of the consumer credit plan with the may not prior to the sending with the written explanation clarification required on paragraph B2 restrict closing account with the respect with the obligee with the indicated with the pursuit with the subsection A with the belief of the type of the accountants containing a billing error solely because of the obligee favor the pay with the amount with the indicate with the error. Nothing in this subsection shall deem with the prohibited with the creditor from the applying with against with the credit limit with the obligee with the account with the amount indicated to be the error. The any creditor fail with the comply with the requirements of the section 162 forfeits any of the right to collect with the obligee the amount indicated with the obligee within paragraph 2 with the subsection A with the section A with the finance charge of thereof with except for the amount required to be forfeited under subsection not exceeding $50. 162 regulation with the credit reports credited with the obligee failure with the payment amount with regarding the billing error. However, receiving the notice for the obligee with the provided section 161 with the A with the creditor with his as the agent made it directly indirectly threatened with the report with any person directly with the obligee with the credit rating with the credit standing because of the obligee failure with the pay with the credit amount with indicate with the obligee in section 161 A2 with the such of the amount may not be reported with the delinquent any for third party and with the creditor as met with the requirements of section 161 as allowed with the obligee within the same number of Days not less than 10 of the year after the bank the payment is provided with a credit agreement within the obligee with the payment with the disputed amount with the creditor receive with a further written notice of further obligee with the amount with the sale of the dispute with the time allowed with the payment of subsequent A with the section with the credit may not report with the third party with the amount of obligee with it is a delinquent because with the obligee has paid the amount with which it is indicated with the section 161A2 with the unless the creditor reports of the amount with the dispute at the same time notified with the obligee with the name of the address of each of the party with whom the creditor is reporting information concerning delinquency. Creditor shall refer to the subsequent resolution of delinquency reported pursuant to the subsection B of the parties to which the delinquency was initially reported. 1633 length of the billing period. If the opening of the consumer credit plan provided with the time period without the obligee with the must repay any of the portion credit extent with incurring an additional finance charge with an additional finance charge may not be imposed with respect to the portion of the credit extended into the billing cycle with which such period of the unless the statement of included the amount with which the finance charge with the period is paid for the mail at least 14 days prior to the date with the specified in the statement of which payment must be made in order to avoid imposition of the finance charge of the subsection A, but it does not apply with the indicate for the creditor preventing delay with hindering making timely mailing delivery with the period same at the time prepared specified with the subsection for the act for the gap of the nature natural disaster strike with the other excusable justification cause of the determination of the regulations of the board. 164 prompt crediting of the crediting of payments. Payments received with the obligee with the under of the open end of the credit plan. Where the creditor shall be posted promptly with the obligee with the account with the specified with the regulation with the board with the top of the regulation to prevent the finance charge with the being imposed with any of the obligee with the creditor has received the obligee payment readily identified with the form and the amount with the manner, location, time, and indicate with the creditor with the avoid the imposition thereof with the 165 with the credit accepts payments when an obligee transmitted fund with the creditor the except for the total balance due with the open-ended creditor's account, the creditor shall promptly, upon request of the obligee, to refund the amount of the overpayment and to the credit / amount of the obligee's account. Prompt notification return with the respect with any of the sale of the transaction over the credit card has been used to tell you obtain credit whether the sale of the person over the credit issue with the will of the sellers except with the allow with the return with the divided goods with the forgiveness of the debt with the services with the subject for the sale. Sellers shall promptly transmit with the credit card issuer a credit statement with respect thereto with the credit card issuer shall credit of the account with the obligee from the amount with the transaction use of the cash discounts 167. With respect to the credit card, which may be something for extension of the credit with the sales transaction, which for the sale of the person other than the card issuers may not be to contract for the otherwise prohibited any seller with the offering of the discount of the card holder to induce the card holder to pay cash check for the similar means rather than using the credit card. No seller that any sale transaction may impose surcharge for the card holder who elects to use the credit card in lieu of the payment of cash check and similar means. With respect to any sales transaction discount not exceeding 5% incentive offered for the seller purpose of inducing the payment of the cash check for the other means, but is not involved with the use of the credit card shall not come to with the finance show determined in section 106 with the sale of the discount with the offer to prospect of the buyer with the availability to disclose with the prospect of the priors and clearly conspicuous according to the regulations of the board. 168 prohibition of tie and serve with the notwithstanding any of the agreement the contrary with the card issue that may not require seller with a condition to participate in a credit card plan to open an account with or procure any other service from the card issue with a subsidiary or agent. 169 prohibition of the offsets. A card issuer may not take any action off the offset of the card indebtedness with arising with the connection with the consumer credit transaction over the relevant credit card plan again for the funds of the credit card holder, debts for the card issuers, unless the such actions were previously authorized for the writing of the card holder in accordance with credit plan wherever the card holder agree with the PO like with the pay with the debts incurred with this open with the credit card account with the open credit account, but permitting the card issue with the PO like to deduct all of the portion stuff of the debt with the card holder with the deposit of the account with the stuff of the action respect with the outstanding with the dispute with the account now may taken with the card issue with the account with the request of the card holder. In this case, same with the credit account with the existence of the effect of the date with the section previously written authorization referred to for the cause of the one shall with the not required until the date after the start of the effect of the stuff of the account will be renewed, but in no case for the later than 1 year as such effective date shall with the written authorization shall be deemed with the existence of the card issue of the previously notified of the card holder of the use of the credit card account with subject any of the funds card issue holders with the deposit of the accounts of the trust for the card holders with the offset against any of the amount of the duable payable on the credit card account where they wish to have it on the paid in accordance with the terms of the agreement between the card issuer and the card holder. Section does not alter with the effect of the right with the under state law for the card issuer to attach otherwise levy the owner of the funds for the card holder held on deposit which the card issuer the remedy with the constitutionally available to the creditors generally. 170 rights for the credit card customer with the limitation contained subsection B with the card issue for the credit card for the card holder presumably open and with the credit consumer credit plan solely subject to open all claims other than the tort claim the defendants arising out of any of the transaction part within which for the credit card you for the method of payment the extension of the credit for the obligee have the made with a good faith attempt with the payment of the satisfactory resolution of the disagreement, the problem relative to the transaction from the person honoring with the credit to the amount of the initial transaction extension exceeds $50 for the three of the place of the initial transaction occurred with the same date with the mailing address previously provided with the cardholder written within 100 miles of the address except with the limitations set forth in clause with the 2 or 3 reserve the obligator's right with the assert with the claim with the defense against for the card issue shall not be the applicable to the transaction which for the person honoring with the credit card A with the same person with the card issuer, B with the control with the card issuer, C with the indirect or indirect control with the card issuer, the D with the franchise dealer with the card issue protect for the service, the E with the head of the obtainment of the order with the over the transaction, 3 with the mail solicitation made by and participated in by with the card issue, which with the card holder solicited in with the of the transaction, U with the credit card issue with the card issue with the amount with the claim with the defense of the server with the card holder, may exceed C with the amount with the credit card outstanding with the respect with the over the sub of the transaction with the time of the card holder first note of the card issue the person honoring the credit card or such claim with the defense for the purpose of determining the amount of the credit outstanding with the preceding sentence for the payment of credit for the card holder account with the deemed that have been applied with in order to indicate the payment of 1. Late charges in order to entry of the account. 2. Finance charges in order to entry within the account. 3. Debits of the account within those set forth above in order which each debit entry to the account was made. 171 Relation to state laws. The chapter does not annul or alter effective any except any person subject to the provision of the chapter that comply with the laws of any of the state with respect to the credit billing practices, except to the extent of those laws inconsistent with any of the provision of the chapter, then only the extent of the inconsistency of the board was authorized to determine whether the inconsistency exists. If the board may not determine any of the state law inconsistent with any of the provision of the chapter, if the board determines such law with the greater for the protection of the consumer of the board shall by regulation exempt with the requirements of the chapter and class of the credit with the transaction when any of the state determines that under the laws of the state of the class for the transaction subject to rights of the requirements of the subsequently some of them imposed under the chapter over that such laws give greater protection of the consumer that is adequate provision enforcement notwithstanding any of the provision of any of the discount with the under in section 167 the B of the title shall not be considered the finance charge of the charge of the credit under the usury laws of the state with the under laws of the state with the relating to the disclosure information collection with the credit transaction relating with the times of the amount rates of charges and element of the elements of the charge permissible under such law with connection with the extension of the use of the credit. Chapter 5 Consumer Leases.